You'll never believe what I've learned.
What did you discover in the spellbook we found in the scriptorium?
Salazar Slytherin's spellbook was a little difficult to interpret, but fascinating. Evidently, he encouraged teaching dark magic at Hogwarts. Neither the Imperious Curse nor the Killing Curse was unforgivable during his time. He believed students should be prepared to use dark magic when necessary, not to fear it. That's why we had to use Crucio to gain access to the scriptorium. He didn't want his knowledge shared with anyone who was afraid of the power of dark magic.
I know we had to do it to open the scriptorium, but it's not something I'd want to repeat.
And I'm glad we did it, because in the spellbook I also found something else. References to a lost relic, which, from what I can tell, grants the holder the power to reverse dark magic curses.
And you think this relic might be able to save Anne?
Precisely. I plan to search for this relic, but I don't think we should tell anyone. Especially Ominous. He wouldn't understand.
We need to tell him. He's the reason we found the book, and he deserves to know what you've learned.
You've seen how he frets about the dark arts. I promise I'll tell him when I found the relic. When I know more, I shall send an owl. And don't feel sorry for Ominous. Keeping this to ourselves for now is for his own good.
I'll decide what's for my own good.
Ominous, we were just about to get some air. Care to join?
You're a liar, Sebastian. I heard everything. You swore you'd never engage in anything to do with dark magic again.
No, I didn't. I said I understood you wanting that. I'd never swear to give up on finding a cure for Anne.
You don't know when to stop, do you?
I know when not to stop. Leave this alone, Ominous. I'll be on my way.
Ominous, Sebastian meant well.
I appreciate you telling Sebastian not to keep this from me, but going after that relic is not a good idea. Sebastian doesn't even realize it, but he's as irresponsible and reckless now as his parents were years ago. It's why they died.
I knew his parents died, but I never heard what happened.
Mr. and Mrs. Sallow were professors. Spent nearly every waking moment in the cellar library. Noses buried in books. Anne and Sebastian were upstairs when it happened. They heard a sudden crash and ran downstairs, but it was too late. Their parents had crumpled to the floor. A defect with the lamp in the cellar caused the room to fill with an undetectable toxin. Sebastian and Anne were helpless. They had no magic yet.
What a horrible story.
It is. That's why I can't understand Sebastian's recklessness. I've practically lost Anne. I cannot lose Sebastian too. Please avoid anything to do with that spellbook.
Some references Sebastian mentioned in the book do worry me.
I'm glad you understand. I hope Sebastian pursues this no further. But if you think he might, please let me know.
Sebastian, that relic you mentioned...
I believe one of Slytherin's students stumbled upon the relic during an assignment to study sarcophagi in this catacomb. From what I read in a report by the student, they weren't permitted to take it with them, so I must assume it's still here. As I mentioned earlier, this relic grants its holder the power to reverse dark magic curses. If it's in this catacomb, I have to find it. For Anne. I need to see her.
I'm ready to explore the catacomb. Perhaps we can visit Anne when we've finished.
Perfect. By the way, Ominous has been asking about you. You didn't tell him what we were doing, did you?
I didn't. I promise.
Good. Ominous would be livid if he knew what we were about to do. Before we trudge on further, I've just realized something. The student's diary mentions the Imperious Curse. I wouldn't be surprised if we're going to need it here. It's an unforgivable, but useful when you're outnumbered. Places the victim completely under the caster's control. So, if you'd like to learn Imperio, I can teach you.
Where did you learn the Imperious Curse?
I taught myself. Don't tell Ominous that I've told you. It's not exactly something I can brag about, but it may come in handy. I think you ought to know it.
Shouldn't I know more about what the curse entails?
Remember the blasting curse? Same idea, except when it comes to unforgivable curses, your intention has to be clear. You have to mean it.
It's probably wise to know the spell.
I couldn't agree more. A spell that could save your life shouldn't be unforgivable. You have a lot at stake. You have an ability that evidently no one's seen for centuries. Focus your wand movement. It's not an easy spell to master. Here we go. Something troubling ahead. Be on your guard.
Protego! Stupid! Imperio!
Confringo!
Defender! Crucio! Accio! Incendio! I came as soon as I could.
I'd been so preoccupied by all that happened with Ominis and the catacomb, not to mention my uncle's reaction, that I'd almost forgotten what it was that struck me about that triptych. This is the view painted on the canvas that was left on it.
That's incredible. You know this area well.
And while I was waiting for you, I scouted around and discovered an abandoned mine nearby, surrounded by Ranrock's loyalists.
Do you think there's a connection to the triptych?
I've no idea, but perhaps they're searching it, the way they did Rookwood Castle and Isidora's Manor. How do we want to handle this?
We need to see what they're doing, but let's not draw their attention.
Very well.
And I still have that rune symbol we found on the triptych. If there is a connection, I suspect we'll see that symbol again.
After you.
One less human to worry about. Seems you're hit it.
Protego! Stupid! Imperio!
How childish.
Expelliarmus!
You won't get away with that.
You are. As if you could best the light. Why can't I hit
Descendo!
I'll get you for this!
Defender!
Finish me!
Accio! Protego! Stupid!
find this?
I should have
Depulso!
You won't get away with that.
Expelliarmus! Accio! Incendio!
I should have been
Expelliarmus!
And the fun is over.
Fun is a relative term.
It is. And that was relatively fun.
Lumos. For better or for worse, we're in.
Quiet. I don't see myself doing this sort of thing forever, though. Fancy I'll have my own operation worked out.
Petrificus Totalis. This mine looks like a tomb.
It was closed after accidents were reported. Now I see why.
It's no wonder spiders give people goosebumps.
Could be the hairy legs, or the soulless eyes, or the venomous fangs, or any number of endearing qualities, really.
Smashing.
Should have thought to conjure stairs.
Crucible. Defender. Bombarda. Confringo.
I've never seen a sword like it.
I'll be quiet.
Petrificus Totalis.
Such arrogance. I know you're in Rather up wise coming back this way. Let's get this over with. I'm a goblin!
Imperio.
I won't rest.
Protego! Stupid one! Defender!
Yes!
We're not finished yet.
It's almost as if they were frozen.
Defender! Accio! Bombarda! Confringo! Depulso! Bombarda! Protego! Stupid! Confringo! Glacius! Expelliarmus! Descendo! Descendo! Accio! Wingardium Leviosa!
We certainly cleared the room.
You're not a bad chap. For a Slytherin.
You Gryffindors don't have a monopoly on bravery, you know. Wasn't expecting that. What do you have there?
A journal entry by Isadora. Sebastian,
Hopefully it
I
will
think I
help us
found
unravel
something.
more of this
A
mystery.
canvas piece.
Brilliant. Our efforts weren't in vain after all. Still, something about this place feels odd.
If the triptych led us here to find this bit of canvas, we can probably assume that Isadora Morganach was here.
She seems to have been everywhere.
But if she was using the Undercroft, and the cellar beneath her manor in Feldcroft, why would she create this space?
And why hide it behind cryptic rune symbols? And ancient magic that no one but you could see?
Isadora and Percival Rackham, another of the Keepers, could see traces of ancient magic too.
Rackham? I haven't heard his name before.
His are some of the memories I've seen. I don't think he and Isadora saw eye to eye on how this magic should be used.
This is all rather baffling. Let's take the canvas back to the triptych. Perhaps the answers are there. This place is odd, to be sure, but I'm fascinated by it. Now, for the trek back out of here and to Hogwarts.
Unless we can find another passageway to the Undercroft. Let's have a look around.
And now for the moment of truth.
It has to fit. Please tell me you recognize the location in this bit of canvas.
The good news is I do, in fact.
And the bad news?
We're in for more trouble. I know that coast. Ranrock has taken over a huge mine in the surrounding area. Marrenweem has suffered for it. It's as bad as Feldcroft's become. Should we head there now?
We should wait.
Why?
All this time, we've been a step behind Ranrock. I may know someone who could help us get ahead.
Who is that?
Someone who knows Ranrock personally. They asked me not to mention their name to anyone.
A goblin? Tell me I'm wrong. You know goblins cursed my sister to shut her up. Said she should be seen and not heard.
I do, but not all goblins are...
Not all goblins what? Have you forgotten Feldcroft? Have you forgotten the mine we just went through?
No, Sebastian, I haven't. You're not listening to me.
Why would I listen to someone so ignorant?
You don't know what you're saying. Take a breath for a moment.
Oh, I know precisely what I'm saying. Unbelievable.